All right, hello and a very good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us tonight, the 8th day of January 2026. This is Hope TV's Newswatch. Now, tonight we have quite a lot of top stories lined up for you, and we begin with this one, where Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya is the most influential political figure in Western Kenya. This is according to a new poll released by Infotrack. The poll shows that Natembeya leads with 50%, followed by Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi, that is at 32%. The survey also reveals that if elections were to be held today, President William Ruto will garner more votes in Western Kenya compared to other candidates, standing at 25%. And as Alice Diana reports tonight, ODM party is the most popular party in Western region, followed by the ruling party, that is UDA.
As the country gears towards the 2027 general election, majority of residents in Western Kenya feel the Mulembe community should support the opposition team at 35%, while 26% feel they should support the ruling coalition. 24% of residents, however, feel that the Abaluya community should negotiate conditional support with any coalition, while 9% choose to remain politically independent and decide later. This is according to the latest poll released by Infotrack. The survey, conducted in 4 western counties, namely Kakamega, Vihiga, Bungoma, Busia and the neighboring Trans Nzoia County, shows that Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya is the most influential political leader in the Luhya community, leading with 50%, followed by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who also serves as the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs with 32%. Nairobi Senator and ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna followed closely in third place at 31%, while National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula came fourth with 29%. Former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya ranked fifth at 14%, followed by DAPK leader Eugene Wamalwa at 13%, and former Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala at 10%.
What this is telling us is that the Luhya in Western Kenya are rewarding perceived potency. Leaders seen as forceful, leaders who are seen as effective than just formal office bearers or seniority in politics. Also, influence is not equal to coronation. We are not saying that he has been coronated. So what we are saying here is that whereas Natembeya is leading, he has momentum, and this is not a monopoly. So Western Kenya is still negotiating its leadership. So he's the front runner in the current.
According to the Infotrack poll, George Natembeya is also the preferred political kingpin of the Western region at 36%, followed by Musalia Mudavadi at 18%. Moses Wetangula ranked third at 14%, followed by Wycliffe Oparanya at 8% and Edwin Sifuna at 5%.
In terms of influence by counties championing the rights of the community, George Natembeya cuts across all the 5 counties, but highest is in Trans Nzoia County at 50%. Musalia Mudavadi is championing the rights of the Baluya communities. A lot of the opinions were from Vihiga 43%. Then Moses Wetangula's influence again in championing effectively championing the community's rights was mostly in Bungoma County, highest, that is at 30%. And then weekly for Paranya, again 17% in Kakamega County. The rest scored below.
On the preferred presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 polls, 25% of respondents in the region said their preferred candidate is President William Ruto, followed by former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i with 15% and Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya at 13%. Wiper Patriotic Front Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka received 8% of the support, with Embakasi East MP Babu Owino getting 3%.
As it break by county, we are seeing President Ruto's support is stronger in Vihiga County at 33%, even though it cuts across all the 5 counties. Fred Matiang'i's support cuts across all the 5 counties, but then is strongest in Busia County, 22%. George Natembeya's support also cuts across all the 5 counties, but then is strongest in Busia and Trans Nzoia counties, 16% respectively. Kalonzo Musyoka's support also cuts across all the 5 counties, with the strongest support coming from Vihiga County.
The survey further showed a notable shift in Western Kenya's political landscape, with ODM, UDA and DCP outperforming other political parties like Ford Kenya and DAP-K. According to the poll, the Orange Democratic Movement ODM leads with 25%, followed by United Democratic Alliance UDA at 20%, and the Democracy for Citizens Party DCP at 7%. Ford Kenya and Wiper Patriotic Front recorded 4%, Jubilee Party 3%, while DAP-K recorded only 2%. The opinion poll that saw 602 respondents interviewed was conducted on December 29, 2025, with interviews conducted through computer-assisted telephonic interviews. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Alice Diana, for that report. Let's now take this one, where the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, has accused the ruling United Democratic Alliance, that is the UDA, of attempting a hostile takeover of its grassroots structures in Western Kenya, particularly in Vihiga and Kakamega counties. In a statement issued on Thursday, ODM said some of its legislators and county officials were invited to participate in UDA campaign meetings under the false impression of a political cooperation agreement. One such meeting took place on January 6th at a hotel in Kakamega, where several ODM legislators reportedly attended a UDA convening. The party also claimed that UDA has formed a regional presidential caucus composed of ODM members, a move it says violates both the Political Parties Act and the ODM Constitution. UDA is further being accused of using threats of brutality and expulsion to intimidate senior ODM officials who have spoken out against the overtures. President William Ruto has officially launched the second phase of the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement, also known as Nyota program in Eldoret, marking a major boost for youth entrepreneurship in the North Rift region. The program targets young people in 6 counties with startup capital, skills training, and access to government economic opportunities. Glory Nkatha breaks it down.
Speaking at the Eldoret Sports Club, President Ruto said the Nyota program is a key pillar of the government agenda to expand youth-led enterprises and address unemployment through practical economic empowerment. Under the program, 250 million has been disbursed to 9,500 young entrepreneurs drawn from Turkana, West Pokot, Trans Nzoia, Nandi, Uasin Gishu, and Elgeyo Marakwet counties. Each beneficiary received 22,000 through the Nyota mobile wallet as part of a 50,000 startup package, with an additional 3,000 deposited into their National Society Security Fund. The 50 billion Kenyan shillings Nyota program, implemented in partnership with the World Bank, aims to reach 100,000 youth nationwide with at least 70 beneficiaries in each of Kenyan's 1,450 wards.
Ambayo haina mapendeleo, na pesa itakapopatianwa ipatianwe mahali penye uwazi. we must have accountability, and the process must be transparent so that every beneficiary has an equal chance like the next person. I am very happy that hakuna mtu hapa amesukumwa na mtu, hakuna mtu hapa amehongana ndio aweze kufika mkutano hii. Na kama kuna mtu hapa ameonga mtu.
Beyond startup capital, the program includes 3 additional components. On the job training, will place 90,000 youth under skilled master craftsperson for 6 months, supported by 6,000 Kenyan shillings monthly stipend. Another 20,000 youth will benefit from training and certification under the recognition of prior learning framework, while 600,000 young people will be trained to access government procurement opportunities.
Next phase. And you can assist us make a case for the next cohort of young people to benefit the same way you are benefiting. Mnanielewa? Mnanipatia hakikisho jameni, mtatumia hii pesa vizuri? Mnanihakikishia ya kwamba hii pesa itatumika vizuri? Hamutacheza nayo kamari? Hamutanunua nayo pombe? Hamutalipa nayo fare ya kwenda kufanya ile maneno? Ama tunaelewana namna gani? Mutatumia hiyo pesa kwa biashara.
Ruto also outlined other ongoing youth empowerment initiatives, including the affordable housing program, Kazi Mtaani, and digital jobs. He noted that 600,000 youth are currently engaged in housing projects, 500,000 have secured employment abroad, and 200,000 are participating in digital market programs. Additionally, President William Ruto announced that 44 billion Kenyan shillings has been released for education this term, reaffirming the government's commitment to ensuring access to education for all children.
Recognition of early learning. We want to certify them. We will pay for them. Tutawapeleka kosi ya wiki moja, wiki mbili, wiki tatu, tuhakikishe ya kwamba huyu mtu anajua mechanic, huyu mtu anajua mason, huyu mtu anaelewa electrical, huyu mtu anaelewa carpentry. Tutampatia certificate, ndio sasa awe na certificate ya kwenda kutafuta kazi mahali pengine. Mnanielewa? Na hiyo kazi ndio the next phase. We are advertising so that we can pick another 20,000 young people who today do not have any certification, but they have skills, so that we can support them to be able to get certification, and they can then transition into looking for opportunities to work.
On national cohesion, the president warned young people against ethnic-based politics, criticized leaders who promoted division and hate, and reiterated the government's resolve to combat drug abuse and illicit brews by targeting traffickers while urging youth to stay away from the vice. Reporting for Newswatch, my name is Glory Nkath.
All right, thank you so much, Glory, for bringing us up to speed with the second phase of the Nyota program. And the race for the coveted Nairobi governor seat is slowly gaining momentum, with various aspirants eyeing the seat beginning their campaigns. Embakasi North Member of Parliament James Gakuya and Democracy for the Citizens Party DCP aspirant, that is Irongo Nyakera, were flanked by DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua in Nairobi today, where they requested support from Nairobians to send incumbent Governor Johnson Sakaja home in 2027. Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino, on his part, dismissed rumors that he has quit the race. Let's get more from Jacob Ojiro.
The contest for Nairobi's top seat is beginning to take shape, with aspirants intensifying their campaigns 19 months to the general election. DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua led a series of meetings in the capital aimed at popularizing the party, during which he publicly apologized to Nairobians for supporting Governor Sakaja in the 2022 elections. Gachagua urged voters to deny Sakaja's second term, declaring him a one-term governor.
Mimi nakuja hapa kuomba msamaha. Mimi ndio nilikuja hapa nikatetea Kasongo. nikatetea Sakaja. Naomba msamaha. Naomba msamaha. Naomba msamaha. Huyu Kasongo na Sakaja wamehangaisha watu ya Nairobi. Watu ya Nairobi wanaitwa kama swara. Lakini wakati umefika tuamuke mapema, tufukuze Kasongo na Sakaja, wote waende nyumbani.
Embakasi North MP James Gakuya, who intends to challenge Sakaja on a DCP ticket, pledged to safeguard public land from alleged grabbing by politically connected individuals. He claimed there are attempts to irregularly acquire public land in Ruai, vying to halt such practices if elected.
Ni lazima Sakaja kwenda nyumbani. Mtu wa Sigoi ameenda Ruai, amepora shamba ya county ile ya takataka eka 2000 acres pale Ruai. Tunaambia Kasongo hiyo shamba urudishe. Usiporudisha, order ya Gakuya number 1 itakuwa kurudisha hiyo shamba kwa county government.
On his part, Irungu Nyakera called on Nairobi residents, particularly the youth, to register as voters, saying a higher voter turnout will be key to political change in the city.
Sakaja ende nyumbani, Kasongo ende nyumbani. Hiyo yote itafanyika tukiweza kushikana kama timu moja, si ndio? Mwena kura, mkona kura, ili tuweze kuwatuma nyumbani, ili tuweze kukuwa na one term. Lazima watu wetu, lazima tuchukue kura.
Meanwhile, Embakasi East MP Babu Owino addressed speculation surrounding his political future, firmly dismissing claims that he has exited the Nairobi governor's race.
To Nairobians, we are in Nairobi to stay. Do not listen to any propaganda from any unworthy opponent. As at now, as at today, we don't have an opponent in Nairobi. Let's meet soon.
Nairobi has had 3 elected governors since the introduction of the revolution in 2013. Reporting for Newswatch, my name is Jacob Ochiro.
All right, thank you, Jacob. And now we shift gears now to some matters education. President William Ruto and leaders allied to the government have hit back at former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua over his remarks uttered earlier this week regarding the placement of students to top-performing national schools, accusing Gachagua of spreading hate and tribal politics through the education system. Speaking in Eldoret at the Nyota Capital Disbursement, the head of state accused his former deputy of allegedly attempting to politicize the ongoing grade 10 school placement along tribal lines. Molo Member of Parliament Kuria Kimani also added his voice to the matter, terming Gachagua's remarks as retrogressive and primitive, aimed at igniting tribalism within schools. Gachagua had earlier called on school heads in the central region to prioritize learners from the area during the ongoing grade 10 placement exercise.
Nilisikia kiongozi mwingine juzi Nairobi, yule ambayo tulituma nyumbani. Na hiyo ndio tabia ilifanya tutume yeye nyumbani. Akisema shule kama ya Alliance, shule kama ya Mangu, ati inafaa kuwa ya jamii fulani kwa sababu shule iko Kikuyu ama sijui iko Murang'a ama sijui iko Kiambu. Niwaambie, wacha hata hiyo iko Kiambu. Unajua shida ya kutotembea unakuwa mjinga kidogo. Sasa wacha hizo mnaongea kuhusu Kiambu, hizo national schools. Hizi zetu za constituency school hapa Mishanga zinasabu watu wa kutoka hapa kwa jamii zote za nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kio mwana tunakwambia tafadhali. Mambo ya kuleta siasa ya ukabila. Kwa sababu tunakaa huko Central. Unajua mkutano ya Nyeri wanafanya lugha moja, wanaweza fanya mkutano kutoka asubuhi hata kwa kanisa zao. Ukienda ibada ya misa ama ukienda kwa ibada yoyote, misa yote ya kwanza, ya pili, ya tatu, ya nne yote ni ya Kikuyu.
Mtu kama hana agenda atauza ukabila. Mtu kama hana mpango anauza chuki. You know? Mpaka wanafikia watoto wetu shuleni. Unataka kwenda kugawanya watoto shuleni. How desperate can people be? Let our children be.
All right, time for us to take our first, very short commercial break right here on Hope TV's Newswatch. Coming up on the other side are more top stories, including the preacher in Murang'a who just collapsed, and then what happened later. We're bringing you up to speed when he was trying to hug a tree for 80 hours. Stay tuned for more of this.
ready for an unforgettable worship experience.
Hakuja kuwa, hakutakuwa. Niwe nina hitaji. Mimi nataka ushirika na wewe.
Every Sunday on Ultimate Worship.
Ainuliwe Mungu wetu.
Where we bring you live music, powerful praise, and anointed gospel ministers and bands.
Nashangilia Mwokozi.
Join us every Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. with a repeat at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Everywhere I go, I see you right there.
It's not just music, it's worship unleashed. It's ultimate worship.
You're too faithful to fail me.
Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Are you ready now?
A new year brings new questions, new responsibilities, and even new decisions. This week on Men on Record, we focus on what lies ahead with clarity and purpose. Hosted by George Gishuru and Favored Frank, our guest, Reverend Gitau, joins the conversation to unpack the 2026 game plan. That's this Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. live on Hope TV and Hope FM. Brought to you by Brookshine Schools, focused towards excellence.
What if your pain had a purpose? What if your past was just a beginning of a greater story?
Gotten to another level because now I could not do anything without it, and now it became like a poison. I take it today, it grounds me for 3 more days.
If I had not read the Bible, when I read the Bible, it just confirmed all the more that I had an encounter with the Lord, because I told him, Lord, why have you come to me?
From the streets to the sanctuary, from the prison yard to the pulpit, real people are sharing the power of God's transforming love. No matter where you've been, God can rewrite your story.
So I got him, I just called, and by luck, he picked up the phone. I explained everything and what I was feeling.
Wow.
He started praying in tongues immediately over the phone, and that thing, whatever it was, it stopped.
Join me, Sharon Aitore Wanganye, for Testify every Thursday at 8 p.m. as we listen through the journey of hope, healing, and redemption through the voices of people just like you.
And when you're running away from God, there's only the fire you can run.
Yeah.
I stand here as a witness that God catches up.
These aren't just stories, they are testimonies. Don't just watch, testify.
All right, welcome back, and thank you so much for choosing us to inform you tonight. Let's proceed with 8 Kenya Defence Forces officers and 1 civilian charged with trafficking 24 kilograms of methamphetamine valued at 192 million shillings have been released on 5 million shillings bond with 2 sureties each, or an alternative cash bail of 3 million shillings following a ruling by a Mombasa court. The prosecution counsel, led by Brenda Oganda, however, warned of the possibility of witness interference, citing the nature of the case and the positions held by the accused. Here is more.
The 9 suspects, all attached to the Kenya Navy base in Mombasa, except 1 civilian, appeared before Senior Principal Magistrate Gladys Olimo in a Mombasa court for ruling involving the trafficking of 24 kilograms of methamphetamine valued at 192 million shillings. The 9 were released on 5 million shillings bond with 2 sureties each, or an alternative cash bail of 3 million shillings, with a jury citing that although the accused had previously complied with pre-charge bond terms, the gravity of the offences and the severe penalties prescribed by law significantly raised the risk of absconding or interference with the trial process.
The court acknowledges the accused person's full compliance with the pre-charge bond terms, their presentation for plea taking, their stable family ties, and their non-aborts, and their exemplary service in the Kenya Defence Forces. These factors, together with the presumption of innocence, weigh heavily in favour of the accused persons.
According to the charge sheet, Juma Mwenyifaki Juma faces a charge of trafficking in narcotic drugs, while the remaining 8 accused persons are charged with conspiracy to traffic narcotics, contrary to the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Control Act.
The trial has since been closed, the investigations are now complete, and the serious charges have now been preferred.
The 9 suspects were arrested on December 11, 2025 during a coordinated operation by the Anti-Narcotics Unit of the DCI investigators, alleging that the seized drugs are part of a larger 1,024-kilogram consignment worth 8.2 billion shillings intercepted in the Indian Ocean in October during a multi-agency operation. Although the court acknowledged that the accused had honored their earlier 500,000 shillings pre-charge bond, Prosecution Counsel, led by Brenda Oganda, expressed concern over the possibility of witness interference, citing the nature of the case and the positions held by the accused.
And the court is obligated to reassess bond afresh in light of the prevailing circumstances at each stage. In light of Guideline 1.7 of the Bail and Bond Policy Guidelines and the public interest considerations in Guideline number 2.2, maintaining identical bond terms would fail to adequately address the change risks and public concerns in cases of this gravity. Accordingly, the court finds that the pre-charge bond terms of 500,000 should not be maintained.
The accused were remanded at Shimolatewa Maximum Prison pending pre-trial mentions. 5 of the suspects will return to court on February 9, 2026, while the remaining 4 are scheduled to appear on March 10, 2026. Theo Macharia for Hope TV Newswatch.
All right, and now to a story that has created quite some buzz on social media. James Irongo, the 30-year-old preacher who attempted to set a world record by hugging a tree for 80 hours, has received a heroic reception in Murang'a town shortly after being discharged from hospital after he collapsed just minutes before hitting the 80th hour of the tree hugging challenge, which began on Sunday, 4th January 2026 at 9:27 p.m. and had anticipated to complete it today, that is January 8th, 2026. He is said to have suffered severe exhaustion, dehydration, and early multi-organ failure, which, according to county physician Dr. James Kahura, led him to developing acute kidney injury and muscle fatigue, but has since stabilized following resuscitation and fluid therapy. Governor Irongo Kang'ata of Murang'a, who visited Irongo at the hospital, lauded him for undertaking a noble mission to champion cancer patients. Let's listen in. And Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Housing, Alice Wahome, has revealed that the government is planning to build 1 million affordable houses before the 2027 general election. Speaking during a UDA grassroots election sensitization meeting, the CS expressed confidence that the Kenya Kwanza government will be re-elected for a second term following the ongoing projects that will campaign for them loudly come 2027.
I have also been able to disseminate information regarding the housing program. If we will have a successful program in this particular government, if William Ruto will count his legacies 1 to 10, housing, affordable housing will be legacy number 1. pillar number 1. And I'm happy that so far the takeoff has been challenging, including court cases, but we are at a very, very comfortable stage, and our pace now of takeoff is excellent. We know the teething problems are done with, we know our budget, and we know where we are going, that we want to build at least 1 million houses by the time we finish our first term. And I'm very serious. When I say our first term, I see a very easy crossover to second term, term 2 for William Ruto. And especially when we deliver to the country the houses we have set up.
All right, and now it's time for us to play, and we begin with some matters rugby. 9-time Kenya Cup champions KCB RFC will be aiming to secure their 4th consecutive win of the season when they face Nakuru RFC in a Kenya Cup away fixture on Saturday. The Bankers have enjoyed a blistering start to the campaign, recording emphatic victories over Impala, which is 87 against 5, Kisumu 41 against 10, and Strathmore Leos 72 against 14. Despite the dominant performances, KCB currently sits third on the league table with 15 points, level with leaders Kabras Sugar RFC and Menengai Oilers. Speaking ahead of the Nakuru encounter, KCB RFC head coach, that is Andrew Amonde, expressed confidence in his side's form and ambitions. And Darren Fletcher has confirmed he will remain as Manchester United's interim coach for the FA Cup third-round tie with Brighton at Old Trafford on Sunday. Since the beginning of November, United have played 10 matches against the teams currently in the bottom 8 of the Premier League. They have won only 2 matches. Their past 3 matches have all been against teams either mad in the relegation zone or trying desperately to stay out of it in the case of Leeds. Fletcher takes over Man United after ex-coach Ruben Amorim was sacked on Sunday. Fletcher has moved away from the Portuguese coach's 3-4-3 setup in favor of a back 4. All right, many thanks for sticking with us tonight. With that, we've come to the end of Hope TV's Newswatch on this day, the 8th of January, 2026. Good night. God bless. See you again when God says we do so. Have a lovely night.